I found out my boyfriend cheated, and I'm torn about what to do. Last night, my entire world fell apart. It was supposed to be just another normal evening at my boyfriend's place, pizza, a Netflix marathon, and a warm, safe feeling of being loved. Instead, it turned into the beginning of what feels like a nightmare I can't wake up from. My boyfriend and I have been together for just over 2 years. He's 24, like me, and for the entirety of our relationship, I believed I had found my person. You know, the kind of love where you can just be yourself, where everything feels right. He's the guy who memorized my Starbucks order, kissed me on the forehead every morning, and held me close when life got overwhelming. I felt secure, happy, and truly cherished. But last night, everything changed. We were winding down after dinner. He went to take a shower while I stayed on the couch, aimlessly scrolling through TikTok. That's when his phone buzzed on the coffee table. I didn't mean to look, honestly, I've never been the kind of person to snoop. But the name on the screen caught my eye. It was a woman's name I didn't recognize, and the preview of the text said, "I can't stop thinking about you." My stomach sank. My first thought was, this has to be a misunderstanding. Maybe it was a spam message or some kind of joke. But the curiosity, and dread, got the better of me. I tapped on the notification, and what I saw will haunt me forever. The thread was filled with texts between him and this woman, dating back to November. They weren't just flirty, they were explicit. She talked about their dates, how much she missed him, and even referenced something about that night in your car. My hands started shaking as I scrolled further. Then I found it, her message thanking him for letting her take care of him during one of their meetups. It was clear what she meant, and the nausea hit me like a wave. When he came out of the shower, I couldn't even look at him. I mumbled something about feeling sick and needing to leave. He looked concerned, even reached out to touch my arm, but I pulled away. I grabbed my bag and walked out the door without saying goodbye. Now, I'm sitting here in my apartment, replaying every moment of our relationship in my head. How could I have missed the signs? Or worse, were there any signs at all? He seemed so loving, so devoted. There was no shift in his behavior, no moments of suspicion that ever crossed my mind. The texts revealed that their affair lasted about 2 months. From what I gathered, they went on 1 or 2 dates, and at least once, she performed oral on him. But it seemed like it ended in December, at least, that's what I'm choosing to believe. He didn't confess or come clean, but the messages stopped. Did he realize it was wrong and choose to stop on his own? Or was it just a convenient end for him before things spiraled out of control? I don't know what to do. My heart is shattered into pieces, but there's a part of me that still loves him, that wants to hear him out, that wants to fight for what we had. But then there's the other part of me, screaming that staying with him would be a betrayal to myself. He's been texting me nonstop since I left his place. His messages are filled with apologies and pleas to talk. He says it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, and that he loves me more than anything in the world. But if he loved me, how could he do this? How could he take something so pure, so beautiful, and taint it with lies and betrayal? And then there's the gnawing thought in the back of my mind, is this the first time, or just the first time he's been caught? I can't help but question everything now. Every time he stayed late at work, every time he went out with friends without inviting me, every time he pulled away even slightly, it all feels tainted. Was it real? Or was he hiding something? But here's the twist, last night wasn't the only bombshell. After I left, I did something I never thought I'd do. I messaged the woman he cheated with. I needed answers. I needed to know the truth. She responded. And what she told me shook me to my core. She had no idea he was in a relationship. He told her he was single, that he was taking his time to find the right person. She said he was charming, attentive, and sweet, just like he was with me. But then she dropped another bombshell, she wasn't the only one. She found out, through mutual friends, that he had been texting another woman while seeing her. She ended things in December because she felt something was off, but she had no idea he had a girlfriend the entire time. My boyfriend, no, my ex-boyfriend, Was living a double life. Now I'm left wondering how far this web of lies goes. Was I just one of many? And if I confront him, will he even tell me the truth, or will he try to manipulate me into staying? We're supposed to talk in a few days. I agreed because I need answers, but I don't know if I can handle hearing them. I'm terrified of what he might say, but I'm even more terrified of not knowing the full truth. How do you move forward from something like this? How do you rebuild trust when the foundation of your relationship has been obliterated? And more than anything, how do you reconcile the love you still feel for someone who has hurt you so deeply? Right now, I'm taking it one breath at a time, trying to prepare myself for whatever comes next. But part of me knows that nothing will ever be the same again. After 2 days of sleepless nights, unanswered questions, and a constant ache in my chest, it was time to confront him. The messages kept pouring in from him, apologies, pleas, explanations, but I ignored them all. I needed to see his face, to hear the truth directly from him. So when he suggested meeting at a quiet park where we often had our late-night talks, I agreed. The walk there felt like a march toward something final. I couldn't tell if it was closure or destruction, but I knew that this conversation would change everything. He was already sitting on a bench when I arrived, his head in his hands. He looked up as I approached, his eyes red-rimmed and full of guilt. He stood, but I didn't move closer. The physical distance felt necessary, like a barrier between the person I thought he was and the person I was about to confront. "I'm so sorry," he started, his voice breaking. "I've been losing my mind these past few days. I hate myself for what I did to you." I stared at him, my arms crossed, my heart pounding. "Then tell me why. Why did you do it? Was it me? Was I not enough?" His face crumpled, and he shook his head. "It wasn't you. It was never you. You've always been more than enough. I was stupid, selfish. I don't even have a good reason. I wish I could give you one, but the truth is, I let myself get caught up in something meaningless." I felt my throat tighten. "Meaningless?" I said, my voice rising. "You risked everything we had for something meaningless? Do you even hear yourself?" He nodded, tears streaming down his face now. "I know. I know how it sounds. I hate myself for it. I hate that I hurt you. I don't even know what I was thinking." I stopped because I realized how much I love you and how much I was about to lose. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to cling to the idea that he'd come to his senses, that he'd chosen me over his selfish impulses. But then I thought about the other woman's messages, about how she said he wasn't just talking to her. "You didn't stop because you loved me," I said, my voice steady now. "You stopped because it was getting messy. Because you knew it was only a matter of time before I found out." His face fell, and I knew I was right. He didn't deny it. "And it wasn't just her, was it?" I pressed. "There were others." She told me. "How many were there? 2? 3? He opened his mouth, but no words came out. That silence was louder than any confession he could have made. "I trusted you," I said, my voice shaking. "For 2 years, I trusted you with everything. You didn't just cheat on me, you made me doubt myself, question my worth. Do you even understand what you've done?" He dropped to his knees on the grass, sobbing. "I'm so sorry. I'll do anything, therapy, counseling, whatever it takes. Just don't walk away. Please, don't give up on us." I wanted to scream, to cry, to tell him exactly how much he destroyed. But instead, I felt an eerie calm wash over me. "Do you even know who you are anymore?" I asked quietly. "Because I don't. The person I love wouldn't have done this." He looked up at me, his face desperate, but I shook my head. "I need time," I said, stepping back. "I don't know if I can forgive you, and I definitely don't know if I can ever trust you again. But right now, I need to figure out what I want, without you in my ear." As I turned to leave, he called out, "I love you." I paused, looking back at him one last time. "If you loved me, you wouldn't have broken me like this." Walking away felt both empowering and devastating. My heart ached, but for the first time in days, I felt a glimmer of clarity. When I got home, I sat on the couch, staring at my phone. There were messages from friends and family, asking if I was okay, if I needed anything. I realized how much support I had, how much love surrounded me outside of him. Then, a notification popped up. Another message, from the other woman. I thought you should know. I just found out something else about him. Call me if you want to talk. My stomach dropped. What else could there possibly be? Against my better judgment, I dialed her number. She answered immediately, her voice tense. I wasn't sure if I should tell you, but I think you deserve to know. He's been messaging me again. After you left his place the other night, he reached out. He said he missed me, that he was confused about everything. My blood ran cold. I'm so sorry, she continued. I didn't respond, and I blocked him. But I thought you should know. I hung up, my mind reeling. All those tears, all those apologies, and he was still lying. Still trying to manipulate. That night, I blocked his number, deleted every picture, and started packing up the things he'd left at my place. For 2 years, I thought I knew him. But now, I realized the person I loved was just a facade, and I deserved better. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know one thing, I'm choosing me. And that's a decision I'll never regret.